The Electro-Voice RE20 is my favorite microphone to use on a regular basis, and in this video we're going to show you how to set it up properly with the Focusrite Vocaster One audio interface. Now for the purposes of this video, right now you are listening to the lav mic that's clipped onto me. Once we connect everything and set it up, you'll see this logo of a lav mic change to a logo of the EV RE20, and then you know that you're listening to the EV RE20. I will put a comment down in the description below so you know exactly where to go if you're just here to hear how this setup sounds. Now, if you are looking for pricing or specs for anything that we discussed throughout the setup of this video, we do have some links down in the description below with current up-to-date pricing from a variety of online retailers to make sure that you are getting the best price possible. Now, right off the bat, one of the most popular questions of this setup is whether or not the Focusrite Vocaster One has enough gain to power the EV RE20 properly. Do you need an inline preamp like the Cloudlifter CL1 or the Fethead or anything like that? And the answer is you do not need an external inline preamp with the Vocaster One. The Vocaster One has more than enough clean gain to power the EV RE20 without a lot of hiss or background noise or static or anything like that. You do not need an outboard inline preamp to make this microphone work. Now, next, in order to get the best result with your microphone, it does help to have an isolating boom arm like this. I love using the Rode PSA 1 Plus. I think this is an awesome boom arm. I did tape over their logo and decided to put my logo on it. That's pretty much the only pet peeve if you are looking to buy this boom arm, is that their logo is absolutely massive. So if you're running a branded channel, a corporate channel, or if you have a really popular podcast or something like that, you just don't want to hang their logo. But you can do what I do and put your logo on top if that works for you. A boom arm like this will prevent all the table taps from coming through to your microphone. It will do a better job of isolating your microphone than, say, a table stand. If you are looking for a less expensive option, we do have some other links down in the description as well. Now lastly, before we connect the microphone, we do need to quickly talk about microphone placement, because it doesn't matter what you do with the software or the Vocaster One. If you have bad mic placement, even the EV RE20 will sound horrible. For me, I like keeping it within a fist of my mouth. Sometimes with the camera angle here, people think it's really far away. It's only about 3 fingers away from the bottom of my chin, so it is quite close. Just the camera angle can be a little bit deceiving. I like having it just slightly below and angled up. I find if it's up here like this, it's too distracting. It's too in the face of the camera. And if there are some other angles that don't really work well, if I have it down and pointed up at my mouth, it kind of gets rid of that breathing noise when you breathe between words, the inhale sound. So just a little bit of mic placement there helps get the best results. So within about 3 or 4 fingers of your mouth and just below, slightly pointed up at you, is the best position. Next, let's connect the EV RE20 to the Focusrite Vocaster One audio interface. In order to do that, we just need a standard XLR cable. Every XLR cable should have a male end and a female end. They're all quite comparable. In this video, I'm using the Mogami Studio Gold. I usually use the Canary ones because I like the colors, and I find that their quality and flexibility is better than the stiffness of the Mogami Studio Gold, although this is theoretically a little bit better. Next, I'm going to connect the other end to the microphone. Whenever you run cable, it's actually quite deceiving if you're looking to buy cable for your desk setup or something like that. This looks like it would be like a 6-foot run. You need a 10-foot cable in order to pull it off. Just by running down the boom arm and back, you always need more cable than you think, and you always want to make a nice looking job of it. You don't want to drop the cable straight from here to the audio interface or something like that. You want to run it as cleanly as possible. So once we run it down the boom arm there, we do want to make sure that we have some extra slack on the cable so we can adjust the microphone without ever pulling on the cable itself. And then on the back of the Vocaster One, there's only one place that an XLR cable will fit. That's obviously the XLR input on the back of this device. We're going to connect that and bring it down. Okay, so there are 4 different ways to set the gain on the Vocaster One. The gain is how hard the preamp has to work to get the best result out of your microphone, to bring that level up to an acceptable volume for your podcast, live stream, or whatever you're trying to do with this setup. I do quickly want to talk a little bit about theory, about gain setup and proper gain setup. If this EV RE20 was turned all the way up to its max and I was yelling into the microphone, the loudest that this microphone could possibly get, or any other microphone, is 0 dB. 0 dB is the loudest. If you run into that 0 dB mark, then it will sound peaked, clipped, distorted, and you cannot repair your audio. It is basically ruined the recording. So what I like to do is I like to have a 12 decibel margin, and I like to peak, so my loudest moment is somewhere between -12 and -18 dB. This means if I'm having a dynamic podcast or live stream or recording, I can laugh, I can tell a joke, and I will never ever risk going into that 0 dB mark where I will lose audio data from my recording. It will get peaked and distorted and I will lose data. So for best results, you want to set your gain so you're getting between -12 and -18. Luckily, I record into Logic Pro where there's a nice little meter there. I'm going to show you how that looks when we set everything up. So the first way that you can set the gain is if you go into the Vocaster Hub software here. I'm going to turn off the enhanced mode here that was left on from before. And the easiest way here is to click this auto gain button. When I click this, I'm going to talk for 10 seconds. You won't be able to hear me. And then you will see that this gain or this level meter automatically sets itself. So let's do that now. So this is me setting the gain on the Vocaster One audio interface with the Electro-Voice RE20 dynamic microphone. Check 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now you see that mic level slider there slid into position. It automatically set. You can hear the EV RE20 into the Vocaster One audio interface for the first time right now. And if we look over at our meter, I'm going to reset the peak meter here. You can see that right now I'm peaking somewhere between -14, -17. It was kind of flickering back and forth there, but that's exactly right. We want my loudest moment when I'm talking comfortably. Right now it's at -15.5. That is set absolutely perfect. So that's method one. The second method, I'm sure you could assume here, you just click and drag the slider around. So if I want to be a little more conservative, I can turn it down, reset my peak meter, and you can see, well, maybe I change my mic positioning here. I'll turn it down a little bit more, reset the peak meter, and you can see that it's much more conservative there at -19. So that is the second way, is just manually dragging it around. I would always go with the auto way because chances are you may not be using Logic or another piece of software that tells you exactly what you're doing. But with the Focusrite software in the manual, it says that even they aim for that -12 to -18 mark. So that is a good mark for you to be aiming for. Now the third way that you can do this is on the Focusrite Vocaster One itself. You can click this level button and it'll take the same 10-second delay and automatically set the gain on the audio interface. Let's do that now. I'll click it. This is me talking into the microphone so it can automatically set the gain on the Focusrite Vocaster One audio interface. Check 1, check 2, check 3. And now you can hear how it sounds. You can see that white kind of mark came up for a second there, and now you see this green meter. If we go back into my computer, I can reset the peak meter and we can test it out. It looks like it's exactly where we want it, -16.1. Now the fourth way that we can set the gain with the Vocaster One is obviously manually using this knob here, this big dial that's on the Vocaster One. So if I turn this up, you will notice it gets a bit louder. This white meter comes up indicating how far we pressed it. So you can see me pushing up and down here. If I reset my peak meter again, I'm happy. I'm at that -14.8 dB. I'm in the sweet spot between -12 and -18. So that's exactly. So those are the 4 different ways that you can set the gain. Next, let's talk about some other features and settings that we'll want to use with the Vocaster One audio interface. First of all, there is a mute button here, which is awesome. I say that that's really awesome because most audio interfaces in this price range don't have a physical mute button. Even some have like a soft touch button. There's no clicky button like the Elgato Wave XLR. It's really nice to have a clicky mute button. I don't know if you've ever done video conferencing. You just want to have that assurance that you've clicked the button and it is in fact muted. So I'm going to test that now. And now you can hear me again. So that's a great feature that not a lot of the competition in this price range have. Next, there are some built-in enhanced modes in the Vocaster One audio interface. The enhanced modes basically give you a little bit of compression and a little bit of EQ to help your microphone sound better, or to help it sound, better amongst the mix of other things that you have going on. I'm gonna put my headphones on now just so I can hear it. So you can click it on the audio interface itself, or you can go into the software and click it on over there. So I'm gonna do it on the software. I'm gonna click there, and then I'm gonna select the first option, which is the clean version. Now it's easy to judge all these settings on face value. You may or may not like how this sounds, but another thing that you want to keep in mind is how this sounds when you have other things going on. If you're live streaming and there's game noise or something like that, I would really encourage you to go with one of the clean or bright options, because it will scoop your microphone so it blends better with the game noise or the music or whatever else you have going on your stream. If you want that big, bold AM radio one, we can test that setting in a second, but I would encourage you to test the other ones with your full mix or with your full cast of your podcast or recording, because what sounds good by itself may not sound good in the full mix, and I want you to keep that in mind as you go through these settings. Next, we have the warm one. The warm setting obviously gives you a bit more lower frequencies, and this is how that sounds. Then we have the bright one. On face value, the bright is my least option. I found it sounds quite sharp up top. It's not my favorite, but in the context of your full stream or your mix or your podcast, you might actually like it. And lastly, we have this radio one. The radio one is my favorite. It's the biggest, the boldest. It has the most trust, authority. There's a reason that people use the EV RE20, and this compression setting does kind of boost it up a little bit. This may not work well with other guests if you have 2 or 3 people on your podcast, or if you're live streaming with game noise or something. It might sound too muddy with everything. But if you're a standalone vocal, I like the sound of this, or at least I would try and mimic something separate with other audio software as well. So if you are setting up the EV RE20, we've shown you 4 different ways to set up the gain. You can do it automatically or manually on the computer, automatically or manually on the device itself. I don't recommend any extra windscreens. I don't recommend any other Cloudlifters. You should get a boom arm. I think that is money well spent. It's really easy to use. It frees up your table space in front of you, gives you accurate flexibility to always move it and adjust it. And then if you are using one of the enhanced modes, the radio one is my favorite, but I would experiment with the other options as well with your other guests or game noise or music or whatever else you have going on in your recording. If you are looking for pricing or specs for anything that you've seen here, we have some links down in the description below. Again, if you have any questions, just leave a comment down below. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.